Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started with Coach Bluder in just a few minutes here. In case you didn't see, Kaitlyn Clark was named co-freshman of the week and named to the honor roll, all of that. And just a reminder that we are live on YouTube right now, so I just want to give you guys a heads up for that. Okay, Coach Bluder's making her way down right now. If you guys don't have recording privileges and need them, please let me know in the chat and I will get that squared away for you. Okay. Hi, Coach Bluder. How are you?
I'm good, Brandy. How you doing today?
Good, thanks. Are you ready to get this thing going?
I am. I'm ready to roll.
We'll have you start with an opening statement, and then we'll open up for questions.
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to begin by congratulating Kaitlyn Clark. She was just named co-freshman of the week in the Big Ten and also made the Player of the Week honor roll. So, boy, as a first game and already getting those awards is pretty impressive. So happy for her. Drake game coming up. They've had one more game than we have. They're 1-1. Both of those games were on the road that they've played. So this will be their home opener. The people that we have to be worried about, well, you got a lot to be worried about, but Graceburg, obviously, the transfer from Missouri, local player from Indianola, Iowa, is just a really good player. She can do it all, because she can score from all three areas. She can rebound. She runs well, just a superb athlete. And just somebody that we're really going to have to keep track of. But, they have a senior point guard in Maddie Monahan that she's been there. She does a great job of passing the ball. She gets a lot of ball screens. She is an outstanding three-point shooter. And again, with all that experience. So again, we're playing an experienced team with 3 seniors and a junior. I think that's kind of going to be the trend for us all year, is that we have a little bit, less experience, but that's okay. That's what happens. And then Kiera Collier is also a player that I think is outstanding. Plays the off guard. She's quick. She defends well. She's again, a good three-point shooter, good offensive rebounder, and somebody that we really, really have to keep track of. So it's going to be interesting to take our team on the road. We haven't obviously been on the road yet, and traveling with the new protocols and in place is, I'm sure, going to bring up some issues, but I think that it's good that we're getting a road game before we enter into the Big Ten, because it'll prepare us, in less than 2 weeks, we're at Michigan State. So I think that it's good that we're getting a road game. Then obviously we come home on Saturday and host Wisconsin, opening up the Big Ten. So it's kind of unusual in going non-conference Big Ten, non-conference back to Big Ten again, but that's the way it's going to be for us this year, and we'll survive.
If you have a question for Coach Bluder, please raise your hand in the participant window and I will call on you. First question is from John Bowenkamp.
Hey, Lisa, I don't think we've had a chance to talk to you since the schedule came out. When you put together this non-conference schedule, did you really want to stay close to home and not really play a lot of games far away? And was that just kind of the plan?
That was what we were advised to do. We were advised to, try to play at home if at all possible, and also play teams that are close in a geographical area. So we're not going on airplanes and that sort of thing. So I thought it was smart. And so as we went through the schedule, we would have liked to have added that 5th team, but we just could not find anybody to play us last weekend. So, so be it. We have 4 conference games with everybody getting, cancellations. I really don't think it's going to hurt us, other than that, you'd like to have that experience of playing that extra game.
Jeff Linder.
Yeah, now that you've had a few days to kind of go back and look at the tape, how good was Kaitlyn Clark's first game for you?
I mean, I think it was pretty good. Obviously, she's going to have a target on her back now. We know that. And so it's going to get harder for her as, you play, you move into the Big Ten, but also as she gets identified on scouting reports, right? I mean, you could say, oh, she should have been identified right away. But at the same time, with freshmen, you never know, right? You never know how they're going to transition into the college game. So I understand, that maybe she got some good looks because they hadn't identified her enough in the UNI game. So we know that's not going to happen anymore.
Steve?
Yeah, Lisa, how important are these in-state games for you and your program?
Well, it's important. I wouldn't say that it's, I don't know. I mean, you want to win, right? Because you're competitive and you're an athlete and you want to compete and you want to win and you want to be state champs. I don't know if it affects recruiting as much as I used to think it did. I used to think that was a big deal in recruiting, but now I think it's like kids are making up their minds so early. It's almost before a lot of these games have even happened. And so I don't know that it impacts recruiting, but it's certainly nice for bragging rights. It's certainly nice for our fans. And we want to win because we want to play well. But I always do think there's just a little bit more energy with in-state games for the in-state kids. I mean, they've been playing with these kids. They've been playing with each other on AAU programs and against each other in high school programs for a long time. So there just gets to be a little bit more juice when you're playing them.
Is there a benefit to playing these games in terms of preparing for Big Ten play too, from an energy standpoint and intensity?
Well, it definitely keeps your players, again, just because I think they are a little bit more juiced up that keeps their focus, that keeps their attention. But, the style that we're seeing, like from you and I and from Drake, is not really what we see a lot in the Big Ten. So it doesn't help us prepare for the Big Ten as much as just getting out there and getting the action and just playing.
Jeff?
Tommy Taiwo didn't play for you against UNI. Was that an injury thing or a coach's decision, or what happened there?
Yeah, it was just a coach's decision. Yep.
Steve, did I cut you off with a question? I'm sorry. Okay. John?
Excuse me for a second. Lisa, what did you think of McKenna Warnock's play the other night, and where do you see her at now, a year into this program and a year into playing college basketball? Where do you see her at? What's good about her game right now?
Well, she's got a lot of good in her game right now. For one thing, we all, just as a freshman, to be named to that all freshman team is really an honor. I mean, when you think of how good this conference is, and there's 14 teams to be named as one of the top 5 freshmen in this conference, that just shows you a lot of what the respect is around the conference that she has, and from the media as well. But, she brings us a lot. She can rebound. She's versatile. She can shoot threes. She can drive. She can post up. She's strong. She's remarkably a good passer. Sometimes I have to giggle because they're not the prettiest looking passes, but they always get there. And so she's a very deceptive passer. And so I just think that she can play so many different positions on the floor that she's going to be a big asset for us in the next 3 years. She's going to be a big part of our program.
Dargan?
Yeah, going back to Kaitlyn for a second. She has a lot of that kind of tenacity, energy, not afraid to maybe chirp a little bit the way that Kathleen did, for so many games. Just the way her energy kind of permeates at the point guard position, even through one game, and obviously what you see in practice. How much does that help, kind of get through, especially in this sense where, you're playing in empty stadiums and you need, energy pretty much throughout?
I always think the point guard kind of has the control of the level of intensity of the team as far as the emotion. And Kathleen was so good at that. And I think Kaitlyn can provide that for us as well. But I do think that Monica and Kate Martin really bring a lot of energy and a lot of voice to the game as well. But I do think that your point guards kind of, just because they have the ball in their hands a lot, and usually they're communicating with the coach a lot more. I just feel like they do lead that kind of the tempo of the team, the intensity of the team, the kind of the attitude of the team.
Jeff?
You talked a little bit about the, some of the players Drake has. Is that a team still kind of searching for an identity now that, they don't have Ryan and hitting her around anymore, especially early in the season?
I'm not sure. They're a different looking team than they have been in the past, because what we've seen is primarily player to player, which in the past they played very little player to player. So that kind of surprised me a little bit. So they've changed styles of play. Now they could resort back to the zone against us, but in 2 games they played very few possessions of that. So that was kind of surprising to me. Are they still looking for identity? I don't know. You'd have to ask Jenny. Those are 2 good players that they lost. But we all lose players every year, and we have to adapt to that. And Jenny is a great coach. And she's going to use her strengths. She's going to find her strengths, and she's going to try to emphasize those like any good coach would.
Any other questions for Coach Bluder? Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, you guys.
We'll have student athletes coming up in just a few minutes.